Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Global Intelligence. As always, we've got a great guest with us. And for those that don't know, let me introduce you guys quickly to Therese Tarlinton. She's the queen of creative collaborations, a business matchmaker, and the best-selling author of Swap, Marketing Without Money. She built a 10 million business by partnering with powerhouse brands like Jeep, Benetton, and Sesame Street without spending a fortune. Now she helps brands do the same using smart partnerships, AI, and marketing magic. Fun, fast talking, and full of real world strategies. Therese makes growing your business feel exciting, effortless, and totally doable. Thanks for joining us, Therese.
It's a pleasure, Chris. Thank you very much for having me here today.
No, it's really great having you here. And I did give you a short introduction. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about yourself? Maybe share something?
Sure. I know, you do the short bio, right? Because no one likes a long bio. But essentially for everybody here, I'm a serial starter. I've had a few companies over my career. And I guess my first business, which was more than 20 years ago, I was able to actually take that from a tiny little idea into about 5 countries using partnerships. So I totally believe in it. And then after I exited that business, I've been helping brands of all shapes and sizes actually find the right partners to match with to amplify their effect. So I work at Macquarie University Incubator. So I'm one of their kind of leads, I think they call it. And so people come to me with a tiny little concept of an idea, and we can flesh out the commercialization or the go-to-market strategy. And right now, I'm working with a huge global brand that have offices all around the world, and it is really about finding their partners for all of their customers. And when I say all of their customers, like many of us, they've got people who are like an architect who actually would specify their product but doesn't physically transact. And then they've got, builders who actually you need to cater for them. Then they have retailers that sell their product, and they have homeowners. So finding the partnerships within each of those customer groups to leverage what they've already got and the other brand, what they've got to create an irresistible experience for their mutual customer.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that, Therese. And I think we've got the audience hooked now with that. So today's topic, we are going into marketing and partnership. And we'll be talking about maximizing partnerships, avoiding common thinking, and more or less what a $4 billion company would want. So that's what we'll be diving into today. And for those that are live, you guys are more than welcome to drop some questions in there if you've got anything. Therese says, "Bring them on." She's not afraid. So let's do it. Let's jump in. So Therese, I set up a few questions. It's not going to be a lot, but I hope I cover a majority of it. First one being, why are strategic partnerships essential for service providers and consultants, and how can they create a win-win collaboration?
Well, I think like all of you, I'm a service-based consultant, and obviously our IP is everything we have, along with our methodology, our formulations, and then our assets that we've built. So as I said, I've I've got a book. I am a keynote speaker. I have lots of workshops. I have webinars. I have podcast episodes. I have all the assets. And so that is incredibly important to to give us our leadership positions. But we know more than anybody else that it is the referral network and the customers that we get access to that creates this really frictionless opportunity. So obviously, I'm a speaker. I'm always, hunting for my own food. I'm always out there trying to actually find that next conversation to have. but actually building that profile and then aligning with some partners to actually feed me those leads that will be nice and warm is incredibly important. So I think the first thing is obviously around your credibility, so your leadership, and actually putting that out on your particular platforms where your audience are, but expanding your reach in terms of tapping into their audiences. So exactly, what we're doing here today. So, who has your ideal audience, and how can you offer as much value as you can to that audience to actually be introduced to a different network that you're not already there. And in terms of, I guess, the win-win, how do you create that win-win? For me, it's 100% about the mutual customer. So as I said, this is when both of you are gaining resources. So both brands are gaining resources, offering customers a different way of interacting with them. And for me, this is very much around a high tide rises all boats. So what is a scenario where your customer is getting something that they just could not get if they were dealing with one company alone? And I find that this is, so this is whether we're co-hosting events, we're actually creating collaborations with product. For a lot of service providers, I put them a lot with a product provider, because we can add the storytelling element and the application and benefit to a product, and also bundle services. And as I said, it's shared referrals, but I think we know referrals as in, so Chris says, you should talk to Therese. Great, we love that. But actually, how could I work with Chris, and what could we create together where Chris doesn't have to say my name? So that is, obviously, we've got something like this podcast, but then what are the assets that are on Chris's website? What are the assets that are on my website? What are we doing together? So it doesn't need to be a physical voice that's coming out to saying ring Therese. It's actually everything that we're doing together aligns our purposes so we can create a better experience for our customer.
Well, that was a great explanation. And everyone at the Circle of Excellence and the Octopus Tribe know that we firmly believe in partnerships. So that was a great explanation. Thanks, Therese. The second question I want to jump to is what many people are afraid of in partnerships, and that leads to, what is the biggest mistake businesses make when trying to form partnerships, and how can they more or less avoid it?
I think for a lot of consultants, and especially when we start out, we might have left corporate, and had started our own gig. And so the mindset around, I don't really have that much to offer, I'm just starting out, is a total misconception. So your history is completely layered, and there is immense value in it. So I'm always working with brands and getting them to do, I'll call it a stock take, really, of what are their assets that they've actually got. And I sat down one night with a glass of wine, actually, and made a list of 103 assets that you're probably sitting on that you didn't even realize that you had, or maybe you've forgotten about it, that you could use to leverage to build a relationship and a partnership with another company. So I think in terms of the first one would be mindset, like thinking I don't have enough. Just a quick story, I was helping a business in an incubator. They had $2,000 of revenue, so tiny infant, and I think the $2,000 was probably from their family. And so it was a very, very new business. I saw in them this immense possibility. It was such a brilliant idea. And I knew from there was an ASX listed, Australian Stock Exchange listed business in Australia, very large. And I knew what they were trying to get done. Obviously, listed companies have general reports or annual reports that they release. And in those annual reports, they always tell you what they're trying to achieve. They have metrics, they have bars, they have graphs, they have everything that they're going to tell you as an outsider, but mostly as a potential shareholder, what they're going to achieve. So when we actually look at what businesses are trying to achieve, and they're big and they're heavy, and they have lots and lots of layers of people, and they might not have direct KPIs to those things that are actually in the metrics, then having small, nimble, agile, fresh, fierce, and brave smaller companies that can come in and help them deliver an objective is juicy, is irresistible. I love that word. And so what I did is I pretty much kind of looked at the annual general report, found the metric, found the person on LinkedIn, wrote the email, and kind of handed it to her and said, send this email to this person in the C-suite. And she got a phone call in 30 minutes. And that is about, and I'm only telling you that because I think sometimes we get in our own head and we don't think that we have enough. But these, especially bigger companies really need a face. They need a voice. They need somebody who is aligned. They need somebody who's attractive to their target customer, especially if they are their target customer as well. Then there's a beautiful, beautiful synergy. So I think the first one is mindset. The second one, we obviously a lot of people come after partnerships and they just talk about what they want. They're like, hey, hey Chris, I would love to be on your podcast, and it's like, well, why should Chris bother having me on his podcast? Like, why, what's in it for him? So I think that focusing only on what you want is the biggest mistake. I always, talk about striking up a curious conversation. And to me, a curious conversation means that I'm going to ask you every single question that I can think of. And I'm going to get you to tell me all the answers. And then I'm pretty much going to tell back to you exactly what you've just said to me. And in terms of how I can help you. So you said you wanted this. This is actually what I can do. I can do this and this and this. Would that be attractive to you? Yes, that would be great. Great. Okay. So I think definitely thinking about them first and you second. So my adage about that, or something my mantra is always, offer more than you ask. So really actually having those deep conversations or those curious conversations, finding out what the brand wants, and then actually aligning it to what you can offer is always going to be more attractive. And the third thing I think, just quickly touching on this as well, is like one of the biggest mistakes that happens in partnerships is they don't go well because people haven't documented anything and they don't have clear goals or expectations on either side. So you absolutely do not have to have a legal contract. It's not about that. It's just about in a situation where you're dealing with a number company, there's assumptions. Oh, I assumed that you would, give me the recording. Oh, I didn't think that I wasn't getting the recording, but I didn't ask that, or I didn't clarify that. I didn't put it in the email. I didn't, and so for me, this is very clearly defining the expectation of what you want. And I call that the offer and the ask. So what are what are you prepared to offer? What are you prepared to ask for? And so this is about what are you trying to get? So what is your goal? What's their goal? And obviously those goals don't have to align. So one goal might be to increase a social following, and another goal might be to sell out an event. So they don't have to align. They can be quite different, but it is around what is the goal of each party. Also around the deliverables. So what are you going to do? When? How long? How wide? How high? So are you going to write an article? Oh, I thought you were just going to write a post that was going to be 200 words long. No. I was actually going to write a 1,000-word article and I want it to be in your newsletter. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it was just a post. So what are the deliverables in terms of, the medium, the format, So is it a video? Is it an article? How long is it? Does it have backlinks? You all want backlinks. So making sure that you're very clear about what you're going to deliver. And as I said, this can be as simple as an email. I love a Word document, just something really simple, and really setting out how both parties can win. So it could be as simple for a lot of brands. I would have their brand name, and then I would actually spell it out phonetically. And I know that seems really simple, but if I've gone to all this work and then you say my brand name incorrectly, that has just eroded heap, a heap of, of assets that I can use it for. So how do you say my name? How do you, who is the person that I'm talking to? What's my website? Very, very clearly, am I .com or .com.au? Where am I based? Where can I find you? So I might be talking to a company, but they don't sell direct. They're only sold through a retailer. Do I know that? So having, I call it a cheat sheet. So it's almost like, here's everything you might want to know about me. So here's how you say my name. Here's where you can buy my product. I'm in these kind of stores or what have you. And this might be if you're doing a deal with a product manufacturer or another SaaS-based company or other things. So where can I actually get your product? Then around, so what is the deal? So what's the goal of both parties? What are the deliverables? And as I said, I'd almost have like a table. So it's pretty much they're going to do a video. It's 60 seconds long. It's going to have these kind of keywords or tags or hashtags or, what's going to have in it and where are they going to be posted and at what time. So I'm going to do a reel that's 60 seconds. It's on Instagram and I'm going to post it on the 6th of March for International Women's Day. And then from that, I'm actually going to take the transcription of that video and create an article that is going to sit on my blog. And from that, in the second week, I'm going to put it in my newsletter, which gets sent to 5,000 people on the second Thursday of each month with a backlink to the website. So just being, and I guess almost like, how I always describe this is just say you got struck down by the flu and you are out and your VA had to actually pick this up and get this over the line for you. What is the information that they would need to get this done? Or even, and I say this because when we deal with a lot of very, very large companies, staff turnover, staff leave, staff move into other divisions. Some of these deals might take, a year or two. They might have a long-term deal. So what are the things in your deal agreement, just your Word document, in terms of what are those deliverables, who are going to do it, when are they going to do it, how are they going to do it? So if another member of staff had to pick that up, it is clear as day what both parties have agreed to. So there's no disparity. And that's how you get great partnerships. That's how you get great results.
Wow, lots of gold nuggets shared there. Yeah, no, that answered my next question as well. So then I'll jump into the marketing side of our conversation today. And guys, if you want to drop any questions, please, you are more than welcome to. Yeah, thanks for answering that, Therese. So next up, how can service businesses market themselves efficiently without spending big on advertising? I think that's quite a big question as well.
Yeah, look, it is. And obviously as service-based companies, as I said, we have a lot of assets. And it's really for me, look, I'm a marketer. I have been in marketing since the late 90s. I was in the team. My first job out of uni was I launched the CDR. And if you know what that is, you know what that is. I'm not going to explain it. But that was like, I don't know, 98 maybe. So I have seen the Y2K bug. I have seen, websites. I have seen social. I have seen apps, and now I'm seeing AI. And I will say that marketing for me it has changed so much, but it's still fundamentally the same thing, which is how can somebody else tell your story in a really effortless way? How can you have a great barbecue conversation? How can I give you a sound bite that you'll remember? And I say this in terms of even, I mean, I'm sure you guys are like totally ninja at this, but even your pitch. So I've met a couple of people, and I love these pitches because I think they're brilliant at executing what they do. So, hey, I'm Jane. I'm a personal trainer, and I help mums get a better body after baby. I know exactly what that woman does, right? Like, as in, and great pitch invites conversation. Where do you do that? Do you do it at the park? Do you bring your baby with you? Like, how old is the baby? Blah, 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 blah. Does it include nutrition as well? So great pitch obviously offers up a conversation. The second one was, and this is very topical, it was, I'll say his name's John. John, I'm a cybersecurity expert, and I keep CEOs out of the courtroom and in the boardroom.
Wow.
I want to talk to that guy, right? So, how can we market ourselves effectively? I would say the first thing is a killer pitch, and then being able to actually make sure that that is on every one of our assets. Continuity of brand and colors, continuity of communications, but as I said, making it as simple as possible to remember what we do and how we do it and who our customers are so people can refer us. I think it's also in this age about repurposing. So we are busy, and we need to make sure that when we create an asset, that we're repurposing it. So, I was just talking to Chris before we came on about, this podcast. So I'm offering information, on a podcast. So what I get back is a MP4 file, or maybe a YouTube file, a video. And so how do I take this and multiply it into 100 things? Now, as I said, I've been in marketing forever, so I'm all about AI because for me, it's just the newest tool. And I was saying to Chris, when I lead workshops on AI, and when I first started talking about it in June 2023, there was about 1,500 tools. Before Christmas, there was about 15,000 tools, and by Christmas this year, there will be about 1 million AI tools. So it's not going anywhere. And so for me, this is around, I've got enough to do, right? So can I be smarter about this? So in terms of how can I market myself effectively, so one of the things would be, how are you repurposing your assets? So when I get this recording or this video of Chris, first AI tool name drop, I'll be using Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a really cool piece of kit. And what you do is you upload 1 hour of video or audio, and it will cut it up into small social segments. It will cut them up, and then it will actually reformat them all in terms of what is most likely to go viral. You have all your social accounts linked to it. It then lets you schedule. It then lets you format it. So I can have a portrait or a landscape. It puts in, I can have, Hormozy style captions, or, any of the influencer styles of captions. And it will create a piece of content to invite people to watch this video. That's one thing. There's obviously, we have a transcription. So we will have this video, creates a whole lot of words. That is obviously content that could go to articles, create press releases, create blogs. It could create procedures. It could create an ebook. So what are the things that you're doing every single day that you could take? You've already done it, and actually put it into a different format. Also within AI, I'm starting to actually look at things that I did a few years ago and start to update it. So for example, there's great pieces of AI that can change names. So for example, I worked with a show in Australia. It's called The Block. It is a renovation show. So I actually had all these videos about how if you were a brand and you appeared on this TV show, what you would do to take your 15 seconds of fame into a year of marketing. I've realized that, that's an asset that is reliant on that one show, but actually it could be any show, really. And I have 28 videos actually talking about how to maximize your marketing for this one show. So with AI, there's a little widget, it's pretty cool. And so instead of saying the words in all the videos that I've already got, I'm going to actually upload those videos, and it's going to change the word from the block to the show. And then I can actually release it as another asset that is about when you get editorial on TV, not just this one show. I definitely when I have consultations with a client, I record those, and we might be talking about cost of goods, we might be talking about go-to-market strategies, but then as a leader in partnerships, I want to give that a different take. So then I'm uploading it. I've created my own GPT, which is super, super simple, honestly, the simplest thing you'll ever do. And but what I do is I say, here's a conversation that I just had. How would I kind of spin this around into looking at these learning tips and help a company apply this with a partnership lens? So what I guess I'm encouraging you to do is, how can you market yourself effectively without spending a heap of money? The first is consistency of brand, and the second is about repurposing your assets. And using AI to actually make sure that you are doing what you do. And the third thing I would say is in terms of the format. So as a speaker, I want to see people. I want people to see me speak. So it's more important for me to have the type of content being video than it is for me to have, reams and reams of articles. It would be better for me to actually do a short reel for 60 seconds and talk based on my objective, which is to get more speaking engagements, than it would be to have, hundreds of blogs on my website. I think that's all. Well, that's a start. That's a good start for you all anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. Then the next question ties a little bit into what you just shared. Regarding the AI tools, what other practical AI tools can consultants use to save time and enhance their marketing?
Yeah. So yes, I did kind of overlap a little bit, but I would say, just to kind of drill down on that a little bit more, as I said, creating your own GPT. Now, I started doing this a while ago, so I am using Chat GPT, the paid version. Honestly, whichever is your flavor, you want to use Copilot, Gemini, like, whichever is your favorite one, totally go with it. I will say that my whole world is in Google. So if I was doing it today, I would probably go Gemini, because then you can just link all your drives, and it can actually sort through all the information that are already stored in your Google Drive, which is pretty cool. But I think in terms of, as a consultant, from one consultant to another, or from one service provider to another, the creating my own GPT has allowed me to have, again, a consistent voice. So on ChatGPT, it's super simple. You go to the top right-hand corner where your icon is, and you press it, and you go create a GPT. That is it. That's as hard as it gets. And then it is about uploading a knowledge base. And so from a knowledge base, I've uploaded my book, I've uploaded podcasts, my keynotes, and in different formats. So I've uploaded my keynote in a Word document. So what I wrote that I was going to deliver. And then I've uploaded the slides that go along with that. And then I've uploaded the video of the keynote that I actually gave. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching the GPT about how I deliver. So how many jokes I might put in, what my tone of voice is, how relaxed I am in that conversation, how excited I get when I talk about a particular story. And so I'm educating it all the time. So, and then in terms of how you use it, That allows me when, when a potential, pitch is coming up, then I'm actually taking, because it's all mine and it's closed, then I'm saying, here is the company that I want to send an email to. This is their website. Here's some values or maybe a tiny bit of information that I've literally scraped off their website. And I'm saying they're, having a conference based on, all the knowledge base. What, and their objectives, look at their annual general report, look at their last 10 LinkedIn posts. What are they trying to achieve? And what do I do that aligns with their goal? So very quickly, it is allowing me to research a competitor, but also tap into my tone of voice and what is my uniqueness that can help them deliver their goal. So I feel like this is, and from and I guess I want to give you one kind of thought bubble on this, which is when I started using ChatGPT, I was totally using it as an assistant, right? Like I was like, create a blog for me. How would I rewrite this into a 60-second script? So I was using it as an assistant to perform a task. Now I'm literally using it as a board of directors. So I'm asking it more strategic questions. I'm asking it to think bigger and wider than maybe I've thought about. I'm asking it to tap into opportunities that maybe I haven't identified. I'm asking it to reimagine if I went into a different industry, how this would appeal to it. I'm asking it of, how can I actually get this amount of revenue in the next 2 months based on, something being cancelled and the money's gone from that month or whatever. So I would say in terms of the practical AI tools, the first thing I'd say is create your own GPT. But the second thing is around finding those tools, like for me, which is Opus Clip. So as a speaker, I love speaking. It's my happy place. What I am really terrible at is video editing. Terrible, terrible. So I didn't put up video because I couldn't edit it because it drove me crazy. Or I'd have to spend a heap of money to actually get somebody to edit it for me, and that took weeks and ugh. So I was limiting my exposure by not being able to perform that task and get that asset created. So now with something like Opus Clip, which I pay $9 a month for, I'm able to create, heaps of assets, more assets than I can possibly use in a format that suits my objective to my ideal audience. So I'm saying find the right tool. There's actually a website called www. There's an AI for that. I think it's just type there's an AI for that in Google. It has every AI widget you can imagine. Also, I guess in the GPTs, like when you go into ChatGPT and you go explore GPTs, there is, if you've got a restaurant and you want to create a menu, there's a menu for restaurants GPT. There's an Australian tax law GPT. So actually look at what is the task in the appropriate industry and search for a GPT in ChatGPT, or there's an AI for that and search about what you're trying to get done. So, and I think like don't try to be a master of everything. Like pick like 3 tools that you really like. There's another one in terms of podcasting, which is called Cast Magic. Amazing. So pretty much you can upload your podcast and it turns it into about 30 different formats of content for you. So it comes up with threads, blogs, emails, sound bites, carousels, articles for media, DM reach out requests, anything and everything. So how can we be smarter about what we do? Because we are, we have a superpower. We're really gifted in, I'll say one area, as in I do partnerships, that's my superpower. my broader scope is marketing and collaboration. My even broader scope is around growth. But essentially, I'm not an accountant. I'm totally not a video editor. So what are the things that we're not great at? And so how can we spend more time doing the things that we're great at and making sure that people know what we're great at instead of actually doing the task of creating those assets?
Yeah, very interesting creating your own chat GPT. I think quite a few of us will look into that and see what that is all about. I see we've got a question here, Mina. I think you sent it to me in a direct message, but it's all good. So here it is. Thank you, Therese. You are great. No video as I am sick, no problem. I'm on a startup podcast booking agency, repurpose podcasts into clips for people, primary for authors, consultants looking for worldwide attention. I have my own successful podcast journalist profession. I haven't got a website yet. I am part of a business program called Business Blueprint, and I love partnerships. I managed to partner with networking groups and did a swap value exchange. I was bad with marketing to my target market. Now I know what it is. What advice do you have for someone like me?
Ah, yay. Okay. Business Blueprint, great. Such a clever organization. Shout out to Dale, hero, amazing guy. And so, yeah, Dale and Business Blueprint, they're all over partnerships. They totally know this. That's how he's built the empire that he has. So in terms of your business, sounds great. And the fact that you have had a successful podcast is totally your superpower and you need to capitalize on it. So I would say definitely the first thing I do is go and have a trial of Cast Magic, because I guess what I'm saying is that we have a service offering, but it doesn't mean that we have to do everything. So from a value opportunity, like you, so as I said, like with AI tools, like I can show someone a tool and they just don't, I can teach them how to use it, like say, this is how you use it. And they just don't have that scope of vision based on their history to apply those questions, to ask the right questions in that GPT to get it to actually perform to the right level, to give an amazing output. The fact that you've actually had this experience, you're going to know exactly what you need. And so the service offering that you can then include could be that, as I said, so you could use something like Cast Magic. It can come up with Eclipse. You might then again have a VA that you're using who might actually come up with a creative footprint for that. And so you actually, format them, resize them into different assets for across different platforms. So whether it's a vertical or TikTok and it's a horizontal for LinkedIn, whether it's got watermarks and logos and all these great things, whether it's got a, moving sound bar. So what are we doing? The ability to give your customers the assets that you always wished you'd had and to explain the benefit of why they would need that asset to expand their podcast and what expanding a podcast means in terms of revenue generating activities, sponsorship opportunities, but it could just be solidifying a leadership position. So I would say totally reach out and have a chat. Happy to chat. But I think in terms of for you, what are the AI tools that you could use to enhance your offering, layered with your unique insight that you have that I don't, about how you would use these tools to give your customer the biggest advantage ever?
Right answer. Awesome. So that brings me to my last question. And guys, if you want to add in any other questions, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat or to wait until I've done my questions, then you can unmute yourself. You're more than welcome to. From your experience, Therese, scaling a 10 million business and working with billion-dollar brands, what's the most valuable lesson for service providers?
So going back to what I said, which is we are very valuable, very, very valuable to big businesses. And the first thing is actually, owning it, standing in your space, being confident that you can provide a service that these guys really want. Definitely around obviously your network. We most of the time we just need an introduction. We just need an opportunity to actually be on their radar. So I think around surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, obviously, in these, you're in an amazing group, right? You are surrounded by people who are of a certain caliber. But when we say that, I think that we, as in service providers, sometimes we're a bit shy about actually asking. So I would say ask, like actually ask. I'm looking for a contact in this company. Does anyone know anyone in that company that I can start a conversation with that will eventually get me to the right person to talk to? Anybody knows? Anyone, a sister-in-law, a best mate, a dad from soccer. So I think that we say this is what we do, but I don't think that we actually ask our colleagues, our friends, could be the dad at soccer, for an in. So that would be my first thing. And I think that an adage that I say is like, I want you to, think like a big brand, but act like a super nimble startup. So working in incubators, and if you ever get the chance, even just to give back and actually go to some of the days and and have those great experiences. Remember back a long time ago when you started on this journey, you were really naive, and being naive is kind of a superpower, because you don't know what you don't know, so you're not embarrassed to ask a question. And so this is around why you need to act like a startup, even if you've been doing this for 20 years and you are the best around. We have assumed knowledge. We assume that people know how to do really simple things. My husband grew up skiing. Like we had skis on his feet when he was 2. I didn't see snow until I was in my 20s, and I immediately said, like, how do you ski? And he's like, I don't know. You just stand up and you go. I grew up in Queensland. We didn't go to the snow. We went to the beach. So this assumed knowledge that we have is sometimes actually kind of paralyzing us a bit. So in terms of thinking like a startup, actually get in the environment, or be, offer some mentoring or another platform where you can be in a situation where people ask you questions, and they're going to ask you kind of basic questions, simple questions, questions that you're like, doesn't everyone know what that answer is? No, they don't. And so your value is around the ability that you have so much knowledge, you can answer, any amount of questions about that. And I would say as well, so when you're working with these big businesses, when you're actually pitching for business, it is totally around your uniqueness and the fact that you can actually get what they need done. They have, like, some dealing with this billion-dollar brand, they have all these agencies already. Like, I was like, I've got no chance. I've got like a procession of agencies that do all sorts of stuff. So, everything they could ever want, there's an agency, right? That's already got the tender and has already won it. But I have one thing, one superpower that they don't have. And so one, going in and actually showing my superpower, but then actually aligning it and saying, what I'll do is I'll actually make sure that I can align with your agencies. So then I can work with your PR agency to show them what we're doing so they can get more editorial. And I'm actually going to work with your creative agency, because then because we've got a defined audience, I'm able to really communicate very, very clearly who the people that we want to target, how often, where, what geographical area, all these kinds of things as well. So sometimes we might take up this much space, a tiny, tiny amount of space, but that space that we occupy is, is their kryptonite. They just don't have it. So to kind of, I guess, sum that up, it was like pretty much like be nimble and act like a startup, but, think like a big brand. Surround yourself with amazing people, and get grassroots again, like get somebody to actually ask you a heap of questions about what you do and how you do it, because what falls out of that will be genius. And because I'm AI and because I'm marketing and because I want you to repurpose, when Chris asked me a question, I haven't written an answer, right? So what comes out of my mouth is the most authentic, heartfelt answer that I'm giving. That's your best content. Like if Chris asked me this question and I'd written an answer, it wouldn't be half as authentic, right? And it wouldn't be half as impactful. And part of what we do as humans is we start, like, our brain waves are going off and firing all these different ways. And I'm like, oh, I need to say this and this and this. But that's the layering of beautiful information, so we can get to an outcome that we wouldn't have got if I hired a copywriter to come up with this answer. So don't be afraid to show your superpower and be really, really clear about it and unapologetic about it. And then making sure that you're aligning it with what the goal that they're trying to achieve, but also, putting your arms around their teams to say, and I'll make sure that we're able to communicate this to the logistics or the sales or the operations, or we know that you've got an agency and we're able to work with them on this as well.
Oh, thanks, Therese, for sharing all of that. I really appreciate that. Gold nuggets, all the questions you've answered are really, really good. Guys, is there anyone that would like to ask some questions? I see Brad. Sorry, man, you came in a bit late. We're just about to end the session. We'll have to catch up on the recording. But yeah, anyone want to ask anything? Guys are more than welcome to unmute or just send a message in the chat. Let's see. Mike was joking last week, said this is called what? Dead silence, dead air. What we don't want.
Exactly. Hit me with any question that you've got.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bert. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bert.
Yeah. Okay. So then we'll call it. Therese, thank you for such a great session. I really appreciate for you being here and setting the time aside. And yeah, it's always nice seeing you. I see we've got another comment here, Stephanie. Great session, Therese. Thank you for the golden nuggets. It was truly golden nuggets. I think the offline viewers are going to enjoy this session. So with that thing, Therese, is there anything you'd like to end it off?
No, I would say I'm the only Therese Tarlinton in the world. So you have no excuse to not connect with me on LinkedIn or any other platform. And just reach out. This is my, my happy place when I get to talk about partnerships. And the reason I do what I do is because I want us all to win. And we've got a better chance if we're actually working together than we are if we try to do it all ourselves. There's somebody else who's already talking to your ideal customer and already has a great relationship with them. And so this is about you working with them to create an even better experience. So reach out, love to reach out to you. If you want the book, just send me an email and I'll send you the audio book or the ebook, whatever you want, no problem. So it's a recipe. It'll teach you step by step how to do partnership.
Awesome. Sam also saying thanks, great insights, and Rob also saying thanks, great work. So with that then, guys, we're going to end the session. Thank you for being here, the live viewers and also the offline viewers. All the details will be in the comments. You guys can just, or sorry, in the bio, the comments. You guys can just have a look on that. But otherwise, I hope everyone has a great week ahead. And thanks, Therese, again for being with us. We'll see you all next week again.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chris.
Bye.